Hello, today I'm speaking with Taylor Archer, and we are talking about catalyst loading. Vendors will provide in advance of your turnaround loading diagrams, and these show the volumes, the outages, the catalyst types and layers, etc. So Taylor, when you are in the actual turnaround loading this vessel, are these diagrams followed super closely to the centimeter or inch?
Hey, Karen, great question. And the answer is not really. I consider these diagrams more of a guideline that are based on standard density. And during the actual loading, there are likely going to be some slight differences, either in loading density or slight vessel size or internal diameter differences that will cause a little bit of a difference from the predicted outages. Generally, what we care more about in a typical cylindrical fixed bed reactor loading is that all of the catalyst that is specified is loaded into the reactor. And we care more about this in general because the amount of active catalyst that we have in the vessel will correspond to the performance and lifetime that's already been predicted for that next reactor campaign.
Yes, so we tend to, general rule of thumb, care more about the catalyst volume than the outages. But it's also a good idea just as you're going along in the loading to every so often check the loading density that you're getting
Sure.
or you're achieving to make sure that you're within the expected range and not loading either too dense or not dense enough to avoid surprises at the end once you've loaded all the catalyst. Are there any exceptions to this general rule of thumb, kind of focusing on the catalyst volume over outages?
Mm, Rarely. I won't say no, but rarely, because sometimes there might be an exception if there are any physical hardware installations in the vessel wall that needs to be met from a filling height. Most reactors use a floating screen and or grating, which is a really good technical solution in case of any shrinkage or change in that bed, which obviously does happen, for instance, during a low temperature shift catalyst reduction. And if there's a fixed ring that requires in the vessel that requires for screen installation or grating installation to be attached to, then the filling height or outage must be met. That should support that installation of those hardware pieces.
Interesting. This kind of wasn't, the fixed ring was not on my radar. Anything else to watch out for?
Maybe just one facet of the loading that would be good to mention here on this call, and that is when loading these fixed bed reactors using a loading hopper that usually sits on top of the vessel and right above the manway, and then there's a vinyl sock that extends down into the vessel, that the reactor technician, the loading technician that's using there, should move this sock around as he's loading or she's loading in order to get a semi-level loading all the way up instead of just letting that sit in the middle for the entire time. And this can avoid excessive leveling of the catalyst at the very end when it's fully loaded. But it can also, in the case that any fines are generated through the loading process, then these are not concentrated in the middle of the vessel, where they could be a slight impediment to good overall uniform flow distribution.
Great point. Level as you go. Thank you, Taylor. In another video, I'd like to continue this catalyst loading series and discuss maybe some additional aspects in the primary reformer, the secondary reformer, and the ammonia converter if you have the time.
Sounds interesting. Count me in. Thanks, Karen.